Tonight at 10, further success for Team GB at the Tokyo Olympics, winning 2 more golds.
They have dominated the race from start to finish. It has been a 5-star effort, a brilliant effort.
Laura Kenny becomes the most successful British woman Olympian ever, with triumph in the velodrome alongside Katie Archibald.
Just to have Katie there the whole time, I feel like I'm racing with a sister, and I couldn't have done it if we didn't have that relationship.
Kate French, the new Olympic champion here in Tokyo 2020.
The 30-year-old from Kent took Team GB's second gold medal in the modern pentathlon. But agony for Britain's male sprinters, pipped to gold in the 4x100 metre relay in a photo finish. Also on the programme. Northern Ireland becomes the first of the home nations to begin mass vaccinations of 16 and 17-year-olds. Civilians flee the fighting in Afghanistan as the Taliban make further gains. The UN warns the country is heading for catastrophe. Greece's Prime Minister cautions it'll be a difficult night ahead as wildfires threaten Athens. And another milestone for James Anderson, but rain halts England's fight back against India in the first test.
And coming up in the sport later in the hour on the BBC News channel, a twist in the Harry Kane saga. He says he's never refused to train for Tottenham this week and will return to the club tomorrow as planned.
Good evening. Team GB have been enjoying more success at the Tokyo Olympics, winning 2 golds on one of their most successful days of the Games, taking 7 medals in all. The cyclist Laura Kenny became Britain's most successful woman Olympian ever, winning the Madison event in the velodrome with her partner Katie Archibald. Kenny has now taken gold in 3 consecutive Olympic Games. Our sports correspondent Natalie Perks reports on her historic achievement.
2 special athletes who complemented each other beautifully.
When 9 years of brilliance culminates in one record-breaking moment. Joy for Katie Archibald, history for Laura Kenny, the first British woman to win gold at 3 successive Olympics. The Madison was a new Olympic event for women, requiring tactics, endurance and speed, something this dream team have in abundance.
So away we go.
But this lengthy relay race with a slingshot twist is a game of jeopardy.
A little bit caught in the traffic and the Dutch are down, the Dutch are down.
Britain, meanwhile, was sailing serenely, winning sprint after sprint. And with 20 laps left, it was Britain's to lose.
Great Britain extraordinarily claim maximum points yet again.
Winning 10 out of 12 sprints with a 43-point margin, this wasn't merely a victory, it was an annihilation.
They haven't put a foot wrong. They have dominated the race from start to finish.
Gold in Tokyo, the cherry on the top of the gold Katie Archibald won in Rio.
I feel like I'm racing with a sister, and I couldn't have done it if we didn't have that relationship. I'm just so glad. Like Katie said, I've never wanted to win a race so badly in all my life, and that was the one.
Well, that gold here in Japan makes Laura Kenny the most successful female cyclist of all time from any nation. And she joins Sir Steve Redgrave and Sir Bradley Wiggins on 5 golds. She's not done yet, though, and she'll go for her 6th on Sunday to match Sir Chris Hoy and her husband, Jason Kenny. First, though, there's some time for reflection.
Gold medal is going to go to Laura Trott.
When she burst on the scene as Laura Trott in 2012, it was hard to believe she'd been born 6 weeks prematurely with a collapsed lung. 2 golds in the Omnium and the team pursuit in London were swiftly followed by 2 more in the same events in Rio. Laura Trott became Laura Kenny when she married Jason shortly after Rio. A year later, their son Albie was born. Through the beautiful chaos of becoming a mother to delivering a masterclass in composure today, Britain's most successful female Olympian isn't going anywhere yet.
She has a long career ahead of her still. This isn't, we're talking as if this is the end of her career, her last games. It's not, she'll be in Paris. She could even be in 2 or 3 games beyond now.
Jack Carlin claims the bronze medal.
Bronze for Jack Carling in the men's sprint made this a successful day for Britain in the velodrome. And after 120 laps of biking bedlam, this now familiar step to the top of the podium became a coronation. Natalie Perks, BBC News, Tokyo.
And there were successes for Team GB's athletes on the track too. Laura Muir won silver in the 1500 metres. And there were medals for both the men's and women's 4x100 metres relay teams. Our sports editor Dan Rowan watched all the action, beginning with Team GB's Kate French, who took gold in the modern pentathlon.
One of the Olympics' toughest and most curious events, the modern pentathlon features a variety of disciplines.
Representing Great Britain.
Sitting sixth after the fencing round, Britain's Kate French stayed in contention during the swimming and then excelled at the show jumping, with competitors asked to ride a horse selected at random and given just 20 minutes to become familiar with the animal. With that scuppering some rivals' chances, French sealed victory in the final round, a combination of running and shooting, becoming Britain's second Olympic champion in the event.
Kate French, the new Olympic champion here in Tokyo 2020.
I actually don't know what just happened. I can't really believe it right now. I knew I could do it if I just focused on my shooting and ran as hard as I could. Yeah.
That was Team GB's 18th gold and 55th medal of what is becoming an increasingly successful Games here in Tokyo. But at this stage, their track and field athletes have only delivered 2 medals. Here at the National Stadium this evening, however, there was the prospect of some more. Having chosen to focus purely on the 1500 metres here, Laura Muir knew this was her chance to reach the podium on such a stage for the first time. And in the best performance of her career, the Scot proved too strong for world champion Sifan Hassan, overtaking her with 200 metres to go. No one was catching defending champion Faith Kipyegon, but a brilliant run ensured Muir took silver and smashed the British record. The relief at ending her near-decade-long quest for a major medal clear to see.
Oh, I worked so hard for so long. Yeah.
In the 4x100 metre women's relay, the British quartet, including Dina Asher-Smith, had high hopes after breaking the national record in the semi-final. Favourites Jamaica dominated, but Team GB did manage bronze, a repeat of their performance in Rio. But the most thrilling drama was still to come. Richard Kilty running a storming third leg to put Britain on course for gold in the men's 4x100. But in one of the most dramatic endings to a relay race, Nathaniel Mitchell-Blake was overtaken on the line by Italy's Filippo Tortu. Replays showing Team GB had been pipped to gold by just 1/100th of a second.
We were unlucky, but this is unity, this is a team, we're in this together, and we absolutely pulled it out as a quartet and everyone behind the scene to win an Olympic silver medal. And in 20 years' time, when we're old and retired, we'll look back at this night as one of the best of our lives.
No gold here then, but still a successful night for Britain's athletes, whether at middle distance or the sprints, showing they can mix it with the best. Dan Rowan, BBC News, Tokyo.
And with a look at some of the other memorable moments from the Games in Tokyo, here's Andy Swiss.
Rarely has bronze been quite so brilliant. For the third Games running, a medal for Britain's women's hockey team. But my, they had to work for it. They had been trailing India, but in the nick of time, they turned it round.
Yes, they found the goal!
Grace Balsden's goal securing a 4-3 win. And after a difficult few years for the team, it was all the sweeter.
If you'd asked me a couple of months ago, would we come away with Olympic bronze, I think I would have laughed at you. I think this last cycle has been so tough. We have stuck together and we've come out with an Olympic bronze medal.
In the boxing, meanwhile, former taxi driver Lauren Price is en route to glory after she battled through her middleweight semi-final. Price, who's played football for Wales, is now guaranteed at least silver. And just listen to what it meant.
What's Tom making now?
Elsewhere, the return of Britain's most famous knitter. Tom Daley says it helps him stay sane, but there was nothing woolly about his diving as he eased into the individuals semi-finals. But heading in the other direction, the athlete dubbed Spider-Woman, Polish speed climber Alexandra Miroslav, setting a new world record. She scaled a 15-metre wall in just 6.84 seconds. The race to the top just doesn't get any quicker. Andy Swiss, BBC News.
And at the end of day 14, Team GB has moved into 4th place in the medals table with 18 golds. Tomorrow is the penultimate day of the Games with 34 medals up for grabs, including the women's marathon. The longer-term trend for coronavirus infection rates has been down across the UK, except in Northern Ireland, where case numbers are rising, according to the Office for National Statistics. The UK's national statistician has told the BBC he expects the trend to continue downwards over the coming weeks. The news comes as Northern Ireland began vaccinating 16 and 17-year-olds. Here's our health editor, Hugh Pym.
A UK first, the start of vaccinations for all 16 and 17-year-olds. In Northern Ireland, teenagers in that age group came forward just 2 days after experts gave the go-ahead for the extension of the programme.
Yeah, I just want everything back to normal. You're going to have to get it, so might as well just get it now.
At this theatre school in Lincoln, those we spoke to said they were thinking hard about it. Invitations to 16 and 17-year-olds to get jabbed in England, Scotland and Wales are going out from today.
We talk about vaccine quite a lot, mainly because some people are quite not sure whether to get it or not. I've seen things like online and things like that, but at the end of the day, I think they know what's right, and I'm happy to get it.
Say if I wanted to go on holiday with my mates, I will have the vaccine. I'm not going to miss out just because I haven't had the vaccine.
Don't miss out is the message in a new drive in England to boost take-up of the vaccine among 18 to 30-year-olds. With reminders that to get into nightclubs from late September, proof of being double jabbed will be required. The venues themselves will be promoting those messages. This central London nightclub, Heaven, is even hosting a pop-up vaccination site on Sunday. It'll be open right through from 12 noon till 9 in the evening. The aim still to reduce the spread of the virus. The Office for National Statistics survey of community infections, which covers people with and without symptoms, showed the first fall in UK cases last week since early May. In England, 1 in 75 people had the virus, in Scotland 1 in 120, in Wales 1 in 230, all of which were down. But in Northern Ireland it was 1 in 55, an increase, though experts said the Delta variant spread later than elsewhere.
Rates are still relatively high in many parts of the country, but I would have to say that the evidence very much is of a decline everywhere. I'm expecting a continued decline, not, I would suggest, incredibly steep, but I think we will see a continued decline.
But he added things could change in September after the holiday season. The improving outlook has led to most restrictions being lifted in Wales from tomorrow, though masks will still be required in many public places.
All business will be able to open, and all legal limits on meeting people in indoor private spaces will be removed as well. But alert level 0 does not mean the end of coronavirus, and it very certainly does not mean a free-for-all.
Public health experts say levels of the Delta variant can remain high, even in people who are vaccinated, while still offering strong protection against serious illness. Another reminder, there's still much to learn about COVID and its spread. Hugh Pym, BBC News.
Well, the latest coronavirus figures show there were nearly 32,000 new infections in the latest 24-hour period. And that makes an average of 26,500 new cases per day over the last 7 days, so the longer-term trend is still down. 92 deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours. That's an average of 85 a day in the past week. The number of people in hospital with COVID is now 5,631. Nearly 89% of adults in the UK have had their first jab, and nearly 74% are now fully vaccinated. Downing Street says the Prime Minister will not self-isolate after a staff member who accompanied him on his recent visit to Scotland tested positive for coronavirus. Number 10 says the trip was carried out in line with COVID guidance. Now, the United Nations Special Envoy for Afghanistan, Deborah Lyons, says the country is heading for catastrophe, and she's calling on the UN Security Council to issue an unambiguous statement that attacks on cities must stop. Her warning comes as Zaranj in the southwest became the first provincial capital to fall to the Taliban in the latest fighting with Afghan government troops. Our North America editor John Sopel is at the White House for us now. John, these are very strong words indeed from the UN.
And this all flows from the decision of Joe Biden to pull American troops out by September the 11th. The picture painted was unbelievably bleak, talking about Afghanistan becoming another Syria, or like Sarajevo, 1,000 deaths, and with the Taliban using kind of methods like stoning people to death again, beheadings, and all the rest of it. And so I think it's a very uncomfortable position for this administration as a result of that decision and what might now flow from it.
But what happens now? Joe Biden is not going to reverse the decision, is he?
No, but you're not seeing, as we saw on that warship, mission accomplished after the Iraq War in 2003. America is not saying this is mission accomplished. This is all very chaotic. And I think if you are the family of, and you've lost loved ones in Afghanistan, and you're seeing the Taliban retaking cities that your son tried to help take over, you're saying, well, what was this all for? And that's a very uncomfortable question for everybody who's been involved in this over the past 20 years. If you're looking for a historical comparison, this isn't mission accomplished. This is more like the chaotic end of America's involvement in Vietnam and that last helicopter flying out of Saigon. It's a pretty uncomfortable chapter.
OK, John, thank you. John Sopel there, live at the White House. Here, energy prices will rise for millions of people in October after the regulator said the price cap for some energy tariffs must go up to cover suppliers' extra costs. It's the biggest increase since the price cap was introduced in 2019 and is set twice a year, affecting around 15 million households. The typical gas and electricity customer on the standard variable rate is likely to see their bill go up by £139 to £1,277 a year. With more, here's our Consumer Affairs correspondent, Coletta Smith.
The Burton clan are letting their hair down. Alison and Ashley are here with their mum and 9 of the kids.
Oh, come on then.
But days out don't come cheap.
It costs you a fortune to do a lot with them, yeah.
Especially when you've got a big family as well,
After spending extra through the summer holidays, things always get tight in the autumn.
You live and you work to pay your bills and, that's how it goes.
So the thought of even more on their energy bill is a scary one.
You never hear any good news about it going down. We only ever hear about it going up. Yeah.
Is that how it feels?
Yeah,
that
does,
is definitely how it feels, yeah.
And that's what will be happening from the 1st of October. The regulator says it's only fair that energy companies are allowed to raise prices. This will impact everyone on prepayment meters or the default standard variable tariffs. That's half of all households in Britain.
The price cap was introduced to put a limit on those really expensive rates at the top end to make sure that we're not being ripped off. But it hasn't brought prices down overall. There are still plenty of ups and downs, and it's definitely not the best deal on the market.
But energy companies say it has shielded people from constant rises.
The cost of gas globally has trebled in the last 12 months. If it weren't for the price cap, it might add as much as another £200, £300 to bills compared to where we are today.
With plenty of people still expecting to be working from home in the autumn, fuel costs are going to start racking up. Citizens Advice say nearly 2 million households are already behind on their energy bills.
We're particularly concerned for people on universal credit. The government's planning to cut their benefit by £20 a week in the autumn, so they're going to be facing a perfect storm of rising energy bills and a decrease in their universal credit payments.
With another 2 months to go until prices go up, there's still time to shop around for a better deal. Coletta Smith, BBC News in Warrington.
Wildfires are devastating parts of Greece, burning close to the northern suburbs of Athens. Thousands of people have had to leave their homes as strong winds fan the flames, with several weather warnings covering large areas. The Prime Minister says his country is in the midst of an unprecedented environmental crisis as Greece experiences a severe heatwave. Our correspondent Bethany Bell reports now from Athens.
Around Athens, the hillsides are burning. People are desperately trying to put out the flames, using whatever they can find. Helicopters are bringing water to drop on the fires, but the scorching winds don't help. It's so dry here, you can actually hear the parched branches crackle as they burn. Emergency crews are struggling to stop the wildfires from spreading. Vasiliki is trying to save her home. Her husband's a firefighter, but she has no idea where he is.
I'm not leaving here, at least for as long as I can. My house is behind here. You can see the roof. I'm not leaving, whatever happens.
The effects of the fires are devastating. Villages have been burnt out and dead animals litter the roads. And it's continuing. Tonight we watched as another blaze raged in the outskirts of Athens.
All day long, a fire has been burning on the other side of this mountain, and now it's coming over the hill. People have been told to leave this area as soon as possible, and we've seen people pack up their cars and go. The air is full of smoke and ash. People here are desperately worried about what's going to happen to their homes.
Lefteris' house is up on that hillside. He managed to bring his family to safety. As the flames head towards his house, all he can do is watch.
I cannot sleep. I have my mind there. I don't think that someone can sleep if he knows that maybe his only house will be destroyed.
It was too dangerous to stay here. The police arrived to move people away. It's going to be a long night. People hoping, against hope, that their homes will be spared. Bethany Bell, BBC News, Athens.
There are fears grade inflation in England could see the number of top A-level results reach record highs next week. A former government advisor has told the BBC that almost half of students could get the highest grades. Teachers have been asked to submit assessments for pupils for a second year in a row after this summer's exams were cancelled because of the pandemic. Here's our education editor, Branwen Jeffries.
Quiet now, but next week this college will fill with students. After months of anxious waiting,
all those papers that we had to do.
These sixth formers will get their A-level and BTEC results. They're full of hope, but for Isabel, who wants to study medicine, there's extra pressure.
So I have been really worried about if the university that I want to go to, what if they have too many students, too many people got the right grades? Because that might mean I have to take a gap year or something else.
It's been stressful, exams cancelled, teachers marking work instead.
In the back of my head, I know that I did everything I could to get the grade that I want and the grades that I need. But until obviously I see the results, I will be nervous.
Being a BTEC, we kind of do know what we have got compared to obviously A-levels.
And worries about how their grades will be seen.
If there's a big jump as is expected to be with our grades this year, then that's really only going to exacerbate the issue that lots of people think that A-levels and GCSEs are too easy, and my experience is that they're not really.
This year, grades will be higher overall. That's because they're based on teacher assessments of several pieces of work. It's completely different from a normal exam year, where some students would always have a bad day and do less well than expected.
Schools have been asked to make their own decisions.
John Coles was a top advisor on England's grading system, but he resigned. Today he told me his concerns about A-level grade inflation.
Last year, we know they went up a lot, about a quarter of A-level grades at A&A Star in a normal year. Last year it was very nearly 40%. I think this year we've been expecting it to be higher. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 45 to 50% of A-level grades graded at A to A Star.
For teachers, working out grades has been a huge job. The principal at this college says you have to accept it's different from exams.
It will be slightly higher, I think it's about 4% higher here than last year, then so be it. I think we need to be feeling very positive about the grades that our young people are getting this year and not knocking them somehow because they haven't done examinations.
For each student, their grades are a passport to an apprenticeship or into university. But a way back to results as normal will have to be found. after this year's extra places for those who want to be doctors. Bronwyn Jeffries, BBC News.
There's been rain, runs and wickets on the third day of England's test with India at Trent Bridge. Our sports correspondent Joe Wilson dodged the showers.
There are special techniques required for cricketers touring England. How to hide the bat from drizzle. Very useful this week. Rishabh Pant never keeps his powder dry for long. When he hits the ball to a fielder like this, it's a huge relief. One of 5 wickets in the innings for Ollie Robinson. Now, you'll always remember when you watched England's most successful bowler in history, I took you to Trent Bridge. With this wicket, James Anderson moved to the bronze medal position in the all-time list of the world's bowlers. KL Rahul gone finally for 84. But India were well ahead in the match. Ravi Jadeja saw to that. That's a 6.
What a shot that is.
Here comes a 4. And there is a special way he celebrates getting to 50. Wait for it. There. It is never bettered, although sometimes imitated. A good try. And India led by 95 and bowled again. England's second innings began shakily. India perhaps sensed that Dom Sibley was a little fortunate. There's been chat from both sides. Some people will always find a way and a place to play cricket. England was 70 behind when this happened. To pause with the 3 final words. Rain stops play. Joe Wilson, BBC News.
That's it. Now on BBC One, time for the news where you are. Have a very good night.